In this video, we will talk about the different brushes found in Blender. Probably the most important thing we're going to talk about now is what we are not going to be talking about. There are way too many brushes here to actually talk about, and it gets very confusing if you're really starting to get into what each one of them is going to be doing. This is one little secret of sculpting you may not know if you haven't been sculpting a lot, and that is that the vast majority of sculpting, like something like 99% of all the sculpting, can be done with something like 5 brushes. So in this video, we will focus really on just a few set of brushes, which you're going to be using for the vast majority of the time. There's no point in spending time on some weird esoteric use case you're never going to see. So let's just focus on what's important here. We are going to be sculpting simply on a sphere for now, and we are going to be remeshing this, which again you can do with Control and R. You can just hit Shift and R, just get a little bit more density like so, and then Shift and R again. So the first brush we are going to be talking about is going to be the draw brush. The draw brush is very similar to what you might be familiar with from in ZBrush if you have used that, and it's called a standard brush there. This is a very generic brush which simply just moves points up and down if you hold on the Control key. It's a very simple one, doesn't really do anything fancy, but it's also one of those which is pretty underrated, because if you need specificity in your models, let's say you need to really get in there and figure out what does the lips look like, the specific shapes of the ears and the eyelids, this is definitely one of the better brushes you can use, because it really allows you to have a high level of specificity. So we're going to be using this a fair bit. Then we have Draw Sharp. If anyone is familiar with ZBrush, this is the most similar one to the damn standard brush. This is fantastic when it comes to creating these nice little creases in your model, almost like these little scars. I'm just going to increase the resolution a little bit here, well, a fair bit, just so we can see a bit better what's going on. So this one is really good for these kind of organic folds. I use this a lot when it comes to creating anything which has to do with wrinkles or with scars, or just where I need a lot of specificity as well. If you hold on a Control key as well, you can also get this really cool opposite result. So you can use this in many different ways. Instead of just using the default one, which is just left mouse button, holding Control key can really give you these nice creases like so. Then we have the clay brush. The clay brush is really good for adding volume to things. It can be a little hard to control, but it's really worth learning how to use. You usually would sculpt something like this, where you're sculpting across the shape. Instead of sculpting the shape you want like so, just where you're just adding a line here, I usually tend to add the strokes a bit more methodically and just building it up like so. If you watched any other FlippedNormals sculpting video, you have heard us talking about sculpt across like this. This is really a powerful way, and we have of course videos on how to actually sculpt, like more sculpt technique later on in this series. If you hold on the Control key as well, you can get these really nice carved out results as well, which has a nice sharpness to them. The next up, we have clay strips. Clay strips is probably the brush I'm using the most. That said, if you try to use this by default, this brush is a little bit too brutal for me just out of the box. You can see it building up volume really nicely, but it has way too much texture to it. It would be really hard to actually get rid of all this texture. It would leave a lot of noise in your model. So you have to modify this one a little bit. The way you do that is by going under brush here on top, and then we'll scroll down just a little bit, and we see we have tip roundness. And then we just set the tip roundness quite a lot up. Something like 0.5 is usually good. 0.5, 0.6 doesn't matter too much. And now you can see that this brush here has got really nice and lovely, and it doesn't have any of that nasty texture anymore, but it still has some specificity to it. It's not as, it's not just like a soft little blob, it still has some firmness to it, like so. So this is the brush I use probably 80% of the time when I'm doing anything regarding sculpting. It's a little bit more advanced than using the draw brush and then later on the smooth brush, which we'll talk about in a second. But once you can learn to control the clay strips brush, you will not really need to use a whole lot. It's fantastic for building volume. It's great for really refining things. And overall, it's like a 10 out of 10 brush for me. Then we have the Inflate brush. The Inflate brush, technically speaking, is pushing polygons out under normal. Practically, this is what it's doing. You see it just pushes out shapes and it just gives you a lot more volume. This also causes a lot of issues because you can see here now, shapes are intersecting and they're going into each other like so. This is really annoying if you do it too much, but if you know what you're doing and you know how to control this brush, you can really enhance the volumes of whatever it is you're sculpting. You can really get these nice shapes like this, as you can see here. You can really get these nice shapes just to feel a lot more organic. And since we now have these beautiful artifacts like this, let's talk about the next brush, and that is a smooth brush. The smooth brush is used so often, at least by a lot of people, that it's just on a shift key. And the smooth brush is used primarily to destroy form or to simplify the form down. So if you now were to hold on a shift key and we just sculpt on top like this, what you can see happening is that the shape is just destroyed. You are just basically averaging out everything that's happening there and just creating this nice and soft shape. I'm using the word destroying the shape it sounds pretty serious, and for me it is pretty serious. I have like a love-hate relationship with this brush. It's great if you know how to use it, but the problem is how a lot of people work is they do this. They use the draw brush, then they sculpt a little bit like so, then they hold on a shift key, then they smooth, and then they sculpt a little bit, then they hold on a shift key. Now that can be really good if you really understand shape. But what tends to happen is that you are destroying everything interesting in your model. For instance, if you're looking at this shape here now, there's a lot of interesting small little things here. There's sort of like little mid-frequency things. Then you go over it and you just kill it all. So be very, very careful when you are using the smooth brush. What you can do, you can also go into the brush itself like this, and you can set the strength much lower. So for instance, if you use the draw brush now, and then you were to use the smooth brush, the smooth brush would now be significantly weaker. You can see you need to use a lot more effort in order to actually destroy the form. Now we have a whole chapter dedicated to good sculpting technique, and I think that's going to be really illuminating. But for now, just know that the smooth brush, be a little bit careful of it. In my approach when I'm sculpting is I actually don't use the smooth brush at all. I use it 0.1% of the time. So the only reason we're spending time on this now is because a lot of people are advocating for using it. I'm almost like anti-smooth brush. So just something to be aware of. Then we have the crease brush. The crease brush is fantastic if you want to really make these nice creases. This is essentially a pinch brush. You want to be a little bit careful with this as well, because you can see this, it doesn't just create scars in your model or dimples or anything. Like, it actually pinches everything together like so. So it's not just a crease brush in quotation marks here, it actually pinches everything together. So this one is really cool if you do need to sharpen something up. Like you have like a ridge here and you want to just really make sure this one here is crazy sharp. Then this is fantastic. It can be really good for stylized sculpts, but I tend to use this brush before I've done any kind of retopology or UVs or textures or anything like that, because this pinches my model. And by pinching the model, I just get into trouble when it comes to my topology. But if you're doing this before you retopologize and you're purely using this to create good shape, just knock yourself out, just go ahead. Then we have the flatten brush, and the flatten brush is pretty self-explanatory what it's doing. It will look at your shape and it will try to flatten it out. This can be a really cool brush if you are working with something like rocks or something more mechanical. Then this brush here is great. I personally don't use this brush a whole lot, but I know a lot of people do, so I want to include this in this video as well. Then we have the grab brush. The grab brush we are already a little familiar with, and this is a move brush. This is the most basic brush we possibly have, and it just takes a chunk of polys and it just moves it out. There is no secret behind this one. It moves polys. That's essentially it. Then we have another one though, which is like a fancy version of the grab brush. If you use the elastic deform brush, you can use a smaller brush size now. Let's say this is like a nose. And what you can see happening now is that when we grab this little nose, it grabs basically the entire model. It's like the grab brush moves the polys inside of the radius of it, but elastic deform looks at the whole model and deforms that. This is a really, really fun brush, and I enjoy using this a lot. You can create some crazy stuff with this. I don't find it to be very, very practical for everyday sculpting cases. But when you are changing up the shape like this and you just want to see what happens, it's a lot of fun. But as a general rule, I tend to stick to the grab brush. Then we have the snake hook brush. And for the snake hook brush to really be displayed effectively, we should really use Dyne Topo. We can enable that by hitting Control D, and now that has been enabled. Then we can just drag out a shape like this. I'm just going to change intensity a little bit with this to set it down a little bit. Sorry, not intensity, the detail size. We're just going to be dragging this out a little bit like so. And the cool thing about this brush is that it's like the best brush for particularly creating horns. I mean, that's pretty much a given when it comes to this, but particularly if you want to create limbs as well. What you can do with this, let's say we want to add an arm here, we can just drag out an arm like so, and a limb, and we can just use then something like the Inflate brush on top of this, just to inflate this a little bit. And now you can see we have, something which resembles a limb. Then we can use Control and R to, first disable Dyne Topo. We use Control and R, and now we can remesh this entire thing. And now we've added a whole new limb to this. So the snake hook brush is a really cool brush, and I enjoy this a lot. It's not one of the brushes you'll be using all the time, but it is something you're going to be using a fair bit. Also, as a little tip as well, you can combine all these brushes with masking. So for instance, if you want to drag out something very specific, you want to have a very specific shape on it, we can still go into Dyne Topo, like so. Then we can hit the M key for mask. Just make this a very, very sharp brush. So we can just make this really sharp and nice. And then we can invert it, hit the A key and invert mask. And then we can go into the snake hook brush. And then we can drag out a shape like this. And now you can see you get a much sharper result since we have actually masked this out. You might be able to get this sharp result but just by dragging it out, but it may not be in the exact same spot. Now you are controlling exactly from where this new limb or whatever, this horn is coming from. So masking combined with Dyne Topo, combined with snake hook, can create some really cool results. This is when sculpting is starting to become fun. When you learn to actually control some of these features and you can actually play around with them like so. And you can just create all these wacky, weird shapes. Even if you don't have an idea of what you want to sculpt, you can just have fun with this in Blender. Just create a cube, subdivide it a few times, use Dyne Topo, use remeshing, and just go nuts. Then we'll just disable Dyne Topo by hitting Control D, and then we'll hit Control and R, and then we'll just remesh this thing as well. So now we've covered really all the useful brushes. We still haven't talked more about the brushes we use on a regular basis, just so that you get trained to use those more often. The ones we are going to be using the most here is going to be Draw, Draw Sharp, Clay Strips, Grab, and Smooth. So let's set up some hotkeys for these different brushes. We are going to be using the number 1, 2, 5, which is not the numpad, the ones just above the regular QWERTY keys. So we are going to be going first on to Draw, and then we're going to be assigning hotkey or shortcut. Then we're going to send this to 1. So now if we were to go to something else, the blob brush for instance, then we hit the 1 key, we get to the Draw brush. Then the brush I use a lot as well is the Clay Strips brush. So right click, assign shortcut, hit the 2 key. So 1 and 2 between these two. And then the third one is going to be Grab. So right click on this one, assign shortcut, and hit the 3 key. So now 1, 2, and 3. Now honestly, with this setup here, we can sculpt anything. We just need a few more brushes and then we are all set. Then we are going to be setting the last one, which is going to be the Draw Sharp. And we are going to be adding this to the number 4. And then the last one is just set to the Shift key, which is the Smooth brush. So this now means that by going to 1, we now have the Draw brush. So now we can just start sculpting like so. Then if we want to go to the Clay Strips brush, we can do that just by hitting the 2 key. 3 is going to be Grab. 4 is going to be Draw Sharp. And then finally 5 is going to be the Smooth brush. I know I say we're not going to be using the Smooth brush a whole lot, but it's still really, really handy just to have it on a Shift key. So we're not going to be remapping that to anything else. So I've been sculpting for around 15 years now, and these are the brushes I keep using over and over again. That's why I mapped to the keys they are mapped to, because this is something because these are brushes I keep using over and over and over again. When I'm sculpting more professionally in ZBrush, I have around 7 brushes, but even in ZBrush, which is a slightly more advanced sculpting software in Blender, I still only have a few more brushes, and they do really similar things. So the cool thing about Blender and the brushes here is that they are really powerful, and simply by using 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a shift key, you can sculpt anything. At this point, there are no technical constraints. The only thing setting you back now is you need some practice with the tools, actually using the brushes. And then of course you need to understand some sculpting theory. But at this point, you have the same brushes as I do when I'm sculpting my professional work. So if we had to simplify these brushes down even further, if I was shot into a cannon and I had to land on an abandoned island and I could bring 2 brushes with me, that would be the clay strips brush and probably the grab brush. With those 2 brushes, you can do the vast majority of all the work you need to do. So clay strips, fantastic for adding volume, and then grab, fantastic for actually moving things around really quickly. As a last note before I finish this video off, I want to talk quickly about a setting for the clay strips brush. If we go to brush and front faces only, this one I recommend leaving on. Currently, we don't really have any bad areas where this would completely screw up, but there are some cases where you have a lot of overlapping geometry, and this brush here is just going to mess up everything and just destroying your day. You're going to have to smooth things out and just rebuild things. So I generally advise you to go in and enable front faces only. This is how we are going to be sculpting throughout this entire series, and it's just going to make sure that you have a lot more control with the brush and it doesn't just do things without you telling it to. So that's it for the sculpting brushes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally the shift key. This is going to be the hotkey setup we're going to be using for the rest of this series.